Welcome back to Demolition Worker, where we tackle the impossible. Today, we confront the absolute heart of a colossal naval warship. This is episode 46, focusing entirely on dismantling the supermassive propulsion system hidden deep within the stern of this vessel. We are looking at an engineering marvel that once pushed thousands of tons through the unforgiving ocean at incredibly high speeds. The sheer scale of these mechanical components is absolutely breathtaking, requiring our heaviest demolition machinery just to make a tiny scratch. Before we reach the exterior propeller, we must first navigate the dark, heavy engine room containing the massive main drive shafts. Deep inside the hull, workers prepare giant hydraulic wrenches to loosen bolts that have been locked tight for over 40 years. Every single nut and bolt in this transmission system weighs more than a standard car engine, demanding extreme caution and precision. The air is thick with the smell of old grease and burning metal as our crew begins severing the primary connections. Sparks fly across the cramped engine room as industrial plasma cutters slice through thick steel brackets holding the massive engine block. We use custom-built overhead cranes to slowly lift the heavy engine covers, revealing the intricate internal gears of the propulsion system. These gears were machined to absolute perfection, designed to transfer immense power from the nuclear reactor directly to the propeller shaft. Watching our heavy machinery tear apart such precision engineering feels almost like a crime, but this is the reality of recycling. Giant hydraulic shears step in to crush the secondary cooling pipes, clearing a safe path for extracting the main drive shaft. The raw power of these demolition machines is truly terrifying, easily snapping thick steel pipes like they were fragile wooden twigs. Now we focus our attention on the colossal propeller shaft, a solid steel cylinder stretching over 50 feet toward the stern. Disconnecting this massive shaft requires synchronized lifting from two separate industrial cranes, communicating flawlessly to avoid a catastrophic structural collapse here. Slowly, the steel shaft disconnects from the main engine block, groaning loudly as decades of mechanical tension are finally released forever. Our workers must stay perfectly clear of the drop zone because a single mistake with this weight would be instantly fatal. The extracted shaft is carefully lowered onto specialized heavy transport rollers, ready to be pulled out of the ship's dark belly. Seeing this massive steel component removed from the hull truly highlights the incredible mechanical capability of the United States Naval Engineers. With the internal shaft finally cleared, our demolition team shifts their focus to the exterior stern, where the true prize awaits. Suspended high above the dry dock floor, the ship's massive propeller is finally exposed to the daylight after decades underwater. This is not just any ordinary propeller. It is a highly classified 7-blade solid bronze masterpiece designed for acoustic stealth. For years, the exact shape and curvature of these 7 blades remained a strictly guarded military secret to prevent submarine detection. The unique blade design drastically reduced underwater noise and cavitation, allowing this massive warship to move like a silent underwater ghost. Today, that military secret is just another piece of scrap metal waiting to be cut, melted down, and reborn as something new. Getting close to this solid bronze giant makes you realize just how small human beings are compared to these naval leviathans. The bronze alloy used here is incredibly dense and highly valuable, making the recycling process both technically challenging and highly profitable. Before we can remove the propeller, we must burn through the massive locking nut that secures it to the exterior shaft. A specialized team of thermal lance operators steps up, igniting their torches to generate heat exceeding 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit immediately. The blinding white light from the thermal lances illuminates the massive bronze blades, casting long, dramatic shadows across the dry dock. Thick plumes of toxic smoke rise into the air as the intense heat slowly melts away the stubborn steel locking mechanism. It takes hours of continuous burning just to weaken the nut enough for our hydraulic pullers to finally do their job. Giant hydraulic jacks are positioned perfectly around the propeller hub, applying hundreds of tons of pressure to break the friction seal. Suddenly, with a loud metallic bang that echoes across the shipyard, the giant bronze propeller pops loose from the tapered shaft. Two massive dockyard cranes take the entire weight of the propeller, carefully lowering the priceless bronze artifact to the concrete ground. Resting on the dry dock floor, the true scale of this 7-blade monster becomes even more apparent to our crew. Now comes the most challenging part of today's mission, cutting this solid bronze behemoth into smaller pieces for transport and melting. Standard cutting torches are practically useless against this thick bronze alloy, so we have to bring out the heavy diamond wire saws. The diamond wire saw is carefully wrapped around the thickest part of the propeller hub, ready to slice solid metal apart. Water is constantly sprayed onto the cutting wire to keep it cool and wash away the glowing hot bronze metal shavings. The saw whines loudly as the diamond beads bite into the military-grade bronze, slowly carving a precise central line through. It is a slow and mesmerizing process, watching advanced cutting technology conquer one of the strongest marine alloys ever created by man. While the wire saw works on the central hub, workers use massive exothermic cutting rods to slice off the individual blades. Sparks shower down like golden rain as the exothermic rods melt straight through the thick bronze, creating a spectacular visual display. One by one, the giant secret blades are severed from the main body, crashing heavily onto the reinforced steel staging platforms. Each individual blade weighs several tons, requiring a dedicated forklift just to move them away from the active cutting zone safely. The exposed cross-section of the cut bronze shines brilliantly in the sunlight, revealing the flawless, solid casting of this magnificent propeller. There are no air bubbles or imperfections inside this metal. It is a testament to the uncompromising quality of naval manufacturing. As the cutting continues, the recognizable shape of the top secret propeller is completely destroyed, erasing its classified acoustic properties forever. Heavy excavators equipped with massive hydraulic scrap shears move in to chop the thinner edges of the bronze blades into chunks. The sheer biting force of these hydraulic shears is unbelievable, effortlessly snapping thick bronze like a pair of simple household scissors. Watching this systematic destruction is both satisfying and slightly melancholic, knowing the proud history and engineering that went into this vessel. Mountains of shiny bronze scrap are quickly piling up on the dock, representing millions of dollars in highly recyclable raw materials. Meanwhile, the diamond wire saw finally finishes its long journey through the central hub, splitting the massive core perfectly in half. The two halves of the hub fall apart with a thunderous crash, shaking the ground and signaling the propeller's ultimate defeat. We attach heavy chains to the severed hub sections, using our largest crawler crane to lift them onto the waiting flatbeds. These massive chunks of solid bronze will be transported directly to a specialized foundry, where they will be melted down completely. Inside the roaring foundry furnaces, the metal will reach thousands of degrees, turning this historic naval artifact into glowing liquid bronze. That liquid metal will eventually be poured into new molds, perhaps becoming vital components for the next generation of modern ships. Back at the ship's stern, the demolition team is not finished yet. The massive rudder system still needs to be removed. The rudder is a gigantic hollow steel structure designed to steer this floating city through the most violent storms on Earth. Workers climb inside the dark hollow rudder to cut the internal structural supports, a highly dangerous job requiring strict safety protocols. Exhaust fans pump fresh air into the confined space, ensuring our welders do not inhale the toxic fumes from burning paint. Once the internal supports are severed, giant cutting torches slice through the massive hinges connecting the rudder to the ship's hull. The towering rudder breaks free, swinging wildly for a brief moment before the crane operator stabilizes the massive steel steering structure. Lowering the rudder to the ground exposes the final remaining piece of the propulsion puzzle, the heavy exterior propeller shaft housing. This housing protected the spinning shaft from the corrosive seawater, built with thick layers of reinforced steel and special protective coatings. Massive hydraulic hammers are brought in to smash away the protective outer layers, revealing the bare steel structure underneath the rust. The repetitive pounding of the hydraulic hammers echoes loudly across the shipyard, vibrating through the boots of everyone standing nearby today. Chunks of marine growth and hardened steel coating rain down onto the dry dock floor, creating a massive pile of debris. With the housing exposed, torch operators move in to cut the massive structural brackets holding the assembly to the ship's frame. The shower of bright orange sparks cascades down the side of the hull, illuminating the dark underside of the massive warship. Inch by inch, the heavy steel housing is separated from the ship, effectively castrating the vessel's once mighty underwater propulsion capability forever. A heavy-duty loader scoops up the fallen debris, keeping the workspace clean and safe for the demolition crew to continue. The entire stern section of the ship is now practically empty, resembling a hollow steel cave rather than a complex machine. Looking at this massive void, you can truly appreciate the terrifying power and scale of the machinery that once lived here. Crew has successfully dismantled one of the most complex and secretive propulsion systems ever built by the United States Navy. Every single piece of this mechanical beast, from the tiny bolts to the massive bronze blades, has been carefully categorized today. The logistics of moving thousands of tons of scrap metal out of the shipyard require just as much planning as cutting. A continuous line of heavy transport trucks rolls into the dry dock, ready to carry away the remains of the ship. Massive bronze chunks from the secret propeller are loaded first, heading straight to the high-security foundry for immediate melting. It is always fascinating to see how a mighty warship is methodically reduced to nothing more than piles of raw materials. The demolition process is a brutal but necessary cycle, ensuring that valuable resources are never wasted and always put to use. The heavy machinery used to tear this ship apart now sits quietly on the dock, cooling down after a grueling day. We have witnessed the ultimate triumph of modern demolition equipment over some of the strongest military-grade engineering in the world. The legacy of this incredible propulsion system will live on in the new products forged from its recycled steel and bronze. This massive dismantling operation proves that no human creation, no matter how powerful or secretive, can escape the jaws of time. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the heart of a naval giant, witnessing true mechanical destruction firsthand. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Demolition Worker. Please remember to subscribe for more epic teardowns, and see you next time.